public toilets and I piss on the seat. I walk around in the summertime saying, how about this heat? I'm an asshole. He's an asshole. I'm an asshole.
What's up? In an hour and a half I have 2 videos. This is number 2. What does this one concern? Chris Hansen of Dateline NBC. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? You know why? To Catch a Predator. That's right. The show that exploits pedophiles since 2004. So anyway, why should I have a problem with the guy that captures these sickos? Well, the way he goes about it pisses me off. Have you ever seen a To Catch a Predator episode? He has a little opening. What happens is they'll set up a decoy house. They'll have some 19-, 20-year-old person on the computer pretending that they're younger, seducing some people to come over to the house so they can have relations. And then when the guys show up, Chris Hansen shows his fucking face. He's like, "Good evening. Do you know why you're here?" And the guys will do the same. You know, they weren't going to do anything. Chris Hansen just goes, "Well, I got your personal chat log that we are hacking into, and there's some pretty profound stuff. Why are you such a pervert? You can go have sex with some children, you pervert? What are you going to do, you pervert? You're going to go to hell, you pervert. By the way, I'm Chris Hansen. Did I mention that? Yeah, I'm Chris Hansen. I really like my name. You know, I don't care how long you're here, you gotta make sure you know my name. Chris Hansen, Dateline NBC, Chris Hansen. I'm awesome." Okay. And then that's when the guy will leave the room, or the house, and then he'll get tackled by the cops. And they do some douchebags, because I've seen people surrender, and they pretty much kick their asses to get them on the ground. And then they, go get interrogated onto the next person. What really pisses me off is that he's arresting these people without them actually doing anything. Who's to say? Maybe they would have chickened out. Internet speaking, people say shit that they don't mean. It's part of the internet. It's expected. So, you never know what would have happened, and you're already arresting these guys before that. And also, take the liberty, none of these guys force these girls, or boys, or whatever, to tell them where they live. It's the decoys that are telling them the location. And everybody's always giving shit to the people that go to the teenage people. But what about the 13-year-old girls and boys that are inviting these people? Where are their punishments? They're the horny little bitches that are inviting 40-year-old guys over to stick their rod in them. And yet the guy is the one who always gets the shit. Give it. Where's the punishment for the initiators, the little kid initiators that are telling them where they live? So, if you have a stupid retard, the parents should get some charges too, because they're not keeping their kids away from the computer and in the chat rooms where they are, screwing around with a bunch of older men. Now, I'm not one of these people who say you should monitor your computer, watch your kids all the time. But if your kids are trying to get their snatch pounded by a 40-year-old man on the internet, you obviously didn't do something right as a parent. And yet, if something did happen, the girl or whatever, the kid is going to get away with everything as if they're the innocent victim, even if they are the ones that seduce stuff. And my views on the whole predator thing is kind of scattered. Back in the day, it was perfectly normal for like a 14-year-old and a 30-year-old to get together. I think it should be based more on maturity. And plus, come on, kids are growing up fast these days. You gotta admit that. So, and if they're mature enough to be going online and talking all flirtatious and sexual, they're pretty mature if they're smart enough to do that. So it's not like the guy is raping them. But yet, Chris Hansen makes it seem that he's gonna rape them. And then he'll, just sit there and give these guys who are humiliated so much shit that you almost feel bad for them. And then he has this stupid little smirk on his face. I'm Chris Hansen, Dateline NBC. By the way, you hear that about 8 times per guest. It gets freaking old. And, you know, what I want to see, they want to do a twist on things. How would they have a 30-year-old try to, you know, have a 30-year-old talk to a little kid or some person online and try to get that girl or boy to invite him over? Then when they show up, it's Chris Hansen. They're like, "Oh, I'm Chris Hansen, NBC. Why are you such a horny little bitch for a kid?" And then maybe the parents could punish them. And how about humiliate these kids? Ask them why the hell they're being so retarded to try to hook up with these older people online. Personally, I think that these kids are stupid enough to go online and try to get pounded by older men. They deserve whatever happens to them. They can get raped and murdered. They probably deserved it for being so stupid. It's survival of the fittest. And anybody who's on To Catch a Predator, whether it's Chris Hansen, the girls, the dudes, whatever, it's survival of the fittest. These people need to stop. And then they do some fancy editing to make it more interesting than it is. They just do it for ratings. It's not like this is stopping anything. I seen an episode, a guy went to the house, got caught, then he was back the next day. So, you know, they're obviously not doing this to help, and they're just doing it to humiliate people. And then, you know, make themselves look like a jackass and create the illusion that all kids are the victims. When in the show, they're the ones doing the seducing. They're the ones telling these guys to come over. They're the ones giving the address to the house that their parents paid for, using the internet that their parents paid for, to invite these people over, and they're not getting shit. Chris Hansen exploits it as if it's okay. And I've seen some of these people, like these decoys, when they show up. Oh my god, I don't care, man. If I saw a 12-year-old that had that smoking body, I wouldn't give a shit. I'm plowing that bitch. So, just in closing, Chris Hansen is a fucking douchebag, and I'm sick of making it seem like it's always the older guy who's the initiator, and how the little girl's the victim. Why isn't it the other way around? Who's the one getting humiliated because a stupid bitch couldn't wait a couple years? Fuck off, Chris Hansen. Fuck off, Dateline NBC. And fuck off, you whores. So, how did this thing rate? Well, I'd say Chris Hansen as a douchebag gets up to annoying as pop culture guy. And the 13-year-old girls who are supposedly victims, actually, I rephrase that, the people who make these girls to be the victims, they're up there, like, land solely on the Simple Life chicks. So, I am gonna rate this as a pop culture guy 0.2, which means that, you know, it's past the pop culture and like a 0.2 towards Simple Life. You know, it's 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Simple Life. So we got a pop culture 0.2 for Dateline NBC. Fuck this show, fuck you, and smack these girls in the face. Thank you. This has been the Asshole's Perspective, signing off. Actually, no, I'm not signing off quite yet, because as soon as I save this to start putting it with some pictures, I thought, have you ever noticed how Chris Hansen confiscates all the pictures of the guys' dicks? Like, we know when the guys send a picture of their genitalia, Chris Hansen has them printed out and he shows them, and he doesn't give them back. What do you think Chris Hansen is doing with all these pictures of people's dicks? He probably has about, 300 pictures of guys' wieners hanging up in his room. So that might tell you about something about Chris Hansen. He's getting in the business so he can look at the pedophiles' wieners. Wonder what kind of upbringing he had. What kind of trauma did he have? Might explain why he's such a douchebag, ranking up pop culture 0.2 in my rating. Well, okay, now it's over.